Coming at you from Stretch Wolf Studio. It's that time again to rage across the internet. Your very favorite World of the Apocalypse podcast. Sitting across from me, the king of Woodstock 99, Mr. Daniel Tyson.
Hey, everybody.
To my left, she rocks Swedishly. It's our very own M.
Hello, hello.
And don't call him a Lollapalooza. It's our very own CJ.
Howdy, y'all.
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
That was pretty good. I love these.
Welcome to Rage Across the Internet. If this is your first show, this is a show where we discuss various aspects of World of the Apocalypse for the storyteller and player alike. For those of you who are not new, hey, welcome back. Good to see you. How are we all doing today?
Great.
Doing pretty good.
Pretty good.
Recording day.
Yeah.
It is recording day.
And how you doing, Porter?
Better than Limp Bizkit. But I'm sure that'll come up later.
Yeah, gross.
You started it.
I did start it.
This is your fault.
We'll get there. It's fine.
You just said you liked them.
I didn't say that. Nope.
You absolutely did before we hit
you really
record.
did.
I didn't say I liked them.
You were very excited to speak
Well,
about them.
Yeah.
it will come up in a minute or two here.
Well, here's the thing, Danny. Can't prove otherwise. It wasn't recorded.
Well, that's kind of the fun thing is we could really say whatever we wanted to, and as long as there's some backup, it happened.
3 versus 1, man. 3
However-
versus 1.
You know what? I can't even say I can fix that because I'll edit it out. Because
No, you won't.
Because
you
one,
won't.
no, I won't. It's funny, and two, M's been doing the editing recently, and thank you, M. I appreciate it. So everyone else, give M a hand. Let her know how great she's been doing. I like audience.
Stop that, Porter.
Audience
Hands above the
members. Audience members.
Hey,
Yeah.
that would be much faster, and I'd be making sounds. Act like I'm not above that for the joke. Don't.
Oh,
This is not your
we
first
al-
day.
We always get, we always get Danny for it.
That's true. Well, it's a reason I've scotch guarded that side of the room. I've just got
We're
that. I
having
think she's
fun
going to
already.
cry. So before we get into the topic du jour, we have a little segment for those of you who are unaware that we call This Week in Bullshit, where you just get to know us and stuff that we're into and talking about. And let's kick that off. This Week in Bullshit. M?
Yeah. Here in about a week, it will be the week before, though, whenever this one comes out, I will be going to go see Sweden Rock. And there's a lot of bands. And the guys wanted me to make some predictions and see how many of those are going to come true.
I'll bet you music will be played.
That's
Yeah,
my
music will be
prediction.
played.
I just said it. It's my prediction.
That's
Go
my
ahead.
prediction. They're going to rock Sweden. That's my prediction. They're going to rock Sweden.
You don't have to entertain this, son. Please go.
Anyways, there are a lot of bands that are going to be playing. A majority of which that I'm excited for are going to be on Wednesday. And then like 2 or 3 on each day other than that. So yeah, I'm just predicting that I'm likely going to be pretty sober on Wednesday because we're going to be spending all the time in the festival area and I'm not going to buy expensive alcohol.
But the cheap alcohol.
That does not exist. not in the the area.
Yeah,
Or frankly,
surprised.
anywhere in Sweden.
Especially
Frankly, I think it's I can't remember what Morten said, but it was one of the in Sweden. It's one of the higher prices for liquor in all of Europe or the world.
And you chose
So-
to move there.
Yes.
I did, yes. And I am a heavy drinker, so
What?
It's not grape juice in that glass.
It's the. Oh,
it's
man.
grown-up grape juice, Porter. It's grown-up grape juice.
It's grape juice plus.
Wow.
According to Planet
Yeah,
of the Apes.
grape juice plus. But I predict that I might be relatively intoxicated before I see Korn on Thursday.
So how long is the whole thing lasting? Like
4 days.
It is 4 days?
4 days.
It starts on Wednesday.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay.
We're going to get there on Tuesday, though.
Sure.
To set up camp.
Right, it's a festival. I get it. Mm-hmm. See, my question is, because they usually wait for, like, the big headliners the last couple days, right? I mean, at least this is...
Yes.
So who are, like, the main headliners on the last day?
It seems that... I could be wrong, but in the evenings of each day, there seems to be a headliner.
Okay.
Like, the last show of each evening seems to be a headliner.
Sure. Makes sense.
And it also looks like they stacked Wednesday. Perhaps it's because they're trying to get more people to come in on Wednesday, the first day. It used to be just a half day, I guess, but now it's like a full day. But it's from about noon till after midnight on each day that bands are playing.
Nice.
And each band has about a 1 hour, 30 minute to 1 hour time slot. And there are multiple stages as well. So there are multiple bands playing at the same time. So sometimes you have to choose who you want to go see.
Wednesday is the first day, right?
Yeah.
I have a prediction why Wednesday is stacked.
Why?
They want that day to be the day people actually remember because of all the alcohol that's going to be there. Because if they had stacked the last day, nobody's going to remember it.
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
Might be onto something there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, that's
I mean,
awesome.
Slipknot is towards the end on the festival stage, so I think that's one of the headliners for Wednesday is Slipknot.
Now remember, we're counting on you to get them here.
Yeah, and then I believe Korn is one of the other headliners on Thursday,
Cool.
and then it's either Korn or Dream Theater. I can't remember which one is the headliner stage, if it's festival stage or rock stage. I think it's festival stage. Scorpions on Friday. And then on Saturday is Sabaton, which I'm really looking forward to. So
You have a favorite for each day.
yes, though Wednesday is a little hard to choose, but yeah.
Cool.
I do have a favorite for each day. And they are apparently the headliners, so that's nice.
Nice.
Solid lineup.
And there's also Samantha Fish, which is from really close to where I'm went to school, like college and stuff. So that's fun. Samantha Fish will also be there, so I might just stop by that one just for fun.
Say hi.
I have little doubt
Well,
you're going to have
no,
fun.
it's not quite my type of rock, but I like her music. I just don't have it on any of my playlists but I enjoy it. So I might stop by there just for fun. But the funny thing is, they were joking about this. I either have to be sitting on a blanket way in the back behind the crowd or right up front to be able to see anything that's going on because I'm so short. Anytime I'm in the middle of the crowd, I can't see anything. So I'm either getting pushed up against the front to be able to see, which the other year, whenever a few bands, I was right there up front being, pushed at the front, or I have to stand in the back to enjoy the show. So otherwise I'm just looking at the back of people's backs.
Well, Mac's like a lumberjack, so you just sit on his shoulders.
Nobody does that. And that's also kind of rude because then people behind you can't see.
But you said you're so short that no one's going to be able to notice, so it's fine.
It'd just be like you put a hat on.
I'm a little taller than a muskrat.
Yeah, but like a little.
Yeah, but only a little bit.
No, that's too rude. Good idea, but a little too rude. I do sometimes stand on his feet so that I get a couple extra inches.
Well, see, there you go. We'll just tie some phone books to your shoes.
I will probably wear my boots that give me a couple inches of lift.
Well, it's been a week. The dumbass game that I've played, Too Human.
Mm-hmm. Once human.
Once Human. See, I don't even know what it's called. That's how important this is to me.
I think Too Human is another game.
I think it is, which is why.
You guys are still playing Once Human?
I am still playing Once Human.
Nice.
They did a new scenario recently, which is, it's kind of like a chronicle. I don't want to like explain the whole thing. Like, they have the storyline, and well, they just released a new one, and it's kind of neat. They kind of lean into the SCP of it all, and all of the release zones are available. Like in the other two,
You only get part of
you
each.
only get they broke the world in half, and here this storyline is these servers, and this storyline is these servers, and so this new one is this storyline is all of the world, which is nice. But oh my god,
It's just like starting over sucks, or
well, starting over does suck, and it's much harder. But I appreciate the SCP elements. I will say this: one of the bosses in the game stole from me.
how does he steal from you?
Well, not at all accurately as the writers stole from me, but
Another one of these Porter invented something.
yeah, they put something in the game that I have had written and planned for 2 years, and I can't discuss it further because it's happening to you guys.
Oh,
That's funny.
Right, like, you know, early concepts for wherever Gaia takes us, this is in the fucking list, and the game did it.
So, what are the chances now, Porter, that anytime you're playing this with Danny's going to ask every 5 minutes, hey, is this what you were talking about?
Well, I'm hoping he just forgets.
There's a strong possibility.
There's a
of that.
strong possibility he will forget before we get to it in the story.
Okay, so this makes sense.
But I'm irritated.
Because you and I were actually playing a boss, and this is probably a few months ago already. And then the boss starts talking, and there was a little bit of a cutscene.
Don't elaborate.
Yeah, and then you're like, "Yep, this is good," and I'm like, "Am I not supposed to hear it?" Nope, you can't hear this. Don't worry about it. And you just start talking over it. I'm like,
That was okay, guess what? He didn't forget.
yeah.
Funny.
I mean, it's not like I can go back and figure it out either. So, like, oh, okay, all right, cool, I guess.
So thank honor system, he's not gonna, or he'll forget again. But
Either way, it's both.
But yeah, no, they're fucking stealing my material.
Bastards.
Sons of bitches.
You have bugs in your apartment here, dude. I'm telling you.
I've felt that for years. But like, it's not good quality surveillance because, like, I think 4th grade was the first time I came up with something, and then it showed up in a comic book like 6 months later.
Oh, wow.
But like a vastly different version, so I think the reception's bad.
So they got the spyware at like the magic shop down the street.
Right. Well, remember there was the postmortem.
Uh-huh.
You know, in those postmortems where there was that plot line that I did with Golden Way.
Yep.
That Supernatural stole for an entire season arc.
Yeah. Which clearly
Yep.
was written way before it aired,
But
but also was written by you almost a decade prior.
you know, well, I mean, it was closer than that, so they probably didn't steal it, or they turned around real quick. But still, you know, I remember getting that call. Did you see Supernatural? I'm like, no, I haven't seen Supernatural. She's like, they stole your Chronicle,
And now you have to
That's
watch
funny.
it.
right? Like, fucking what?
Surveillance bugs, man. I'm telling you, they're everywhere.
But that's about it for me. It's just been, getting some gaming in when I can. Still working BTA, I swearsies.
Yes, you have been. Holy shit.
Danwell, what do you got?
Well, I would like to be able to play Once Human with you, but again, we kind of mentioned it last time. I'm moving again, so I don't have the internet.
Yeah, someone fucked up on the whole internet movement timing issue. So you've been without internet for like a month now, right?
Yeah, and wow, does that suck. But I have been watching, and I've thank you, Porter, because I've borrowed a few like movies and stuff that I should have seen before, but just never got around to.
Wow.
So, yeah, no, 500 Days of Summer with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel. That was a fun movie. What else did I watch?
Almost Famous?
Almost Famous, which I know I've seen the movie. I've probably seen, like, the version on TV, and I've probably seen, like, the first half 4 times and the second half 3 different times. But I finally got around to watching the entire thing all by itself. Holy shit, why have I not seen these before? Fun movies, though. And then the one I've got on right now, I'm watching the first season of Shark. And that's James Woods as a criminal defense lawyer turned prosecution lawyer. And I remember watching this when it came on TV, and I was fascinated by it, but I never got around to finishing it, and I had to be a kid. It was a while ago. And now watching it, like, as an adult, and scenarios and stuff in the show, they hit different.
Well, I mean, it's a procedural, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's the procedural except they're the lawyers. But it's James Woods, and that's the fucking...
Oh, yeah.
You know, James Woods is a badass, like, no matter what. That guy rocks. So,
yeah.
To watch him as the slimy prosecutor turning to the DA's office. Mm-hmm. So he's just a slimy DA now. Yeah. It's great.
The
house if he's taking you to court.
Yes. It's essentially what it is. Yeah, he's like the Better Call Saul. He's just a previous version of that. Turn your words against you and like, oh, you said this. I can very easily make that a claim that you're, not competent in your job now. Kind of thing.
Stereotypical TV lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like better because it's James Woods.
And better delivery.
Yep. But yeah, so that's what's happening because Porter is very generous in letting me borrow some of his collection while I have a old Xbox as a DVD player, and that is my source of entertainment.
So, but in that also his pop culture journey is kind of being paused.
Yes, because I can't find the stuff I want on DVD.
Yeah, we'd bust his balls about it, but he has an excuse this time.
Yes.
Not for much longer, though. I think by the time this airs, you'll be in the new place.
Fingers crossed.
Probably.
If not,
well, what do you mean if not? I mean, fucking... You signed a lease, right?
Well, yeah, the lease it depends on when I get the keys. It will probably be the same week. This comes out on Tuesday. I'll be moving in on a Friday.
Close enough.
Yes.
Close enough.
CJ, it's your turn.
We just split hairs about it. I originally didn't have anything off the top of my head, but you reminded me of something I had seen not too long ago, thanks to the SCP stuff going on in Once Human that you brought up. And it was these couple of guys who do like writing for like shorts and stuff for YouTube and do kind of semi-professional work for like other production stuff. And they did a breakdown between like, why did the Backrooms kind of like do the flash of the pan where it got super popular for a little while, but then died off? And how has the SCP Foundation stuck around as long as it has in comparison? And it was a lot of the points that were brought up is leading into kind of the epitome of show don't tell. Because the SCP files and everything, if you actually go through and read a lot of those, especially the early ones, you could see, okay, this is clearly like some of the first entries that were made, but they had the structure, they had the formula, and they had it set up to where you could give all the information you wanted, but there is a certain amount of stuff that's not said that adds to the mystery, but at the same time helps heighten what's there. Where a lot of the backroom stuff is kind of all put out there and all happening in the same location. You could have crossover events in SCP where a couple of the entities start interacting with each other because they're just in the same facility. But then you have certain ones that are distinctly away from each other. Where the Backrooms, it's almost a little too video game-esque, where you have your like grunt enemies and the occasional like boss monster that's like making up this level, because they even call it levels of the Backrooms. And they brought up a point that I'm like, oh god, this is right, and I've never thought about this is the description. The SCP Foundation, because they also got the guy who created, or not SCP, the Backrooms. The guy who created it got paid a bunch of money by Studio Blumhouse to make a project for him. And the guys have made the comment of, so the SCP Foundation did the low, slow burn, building up the popularity, setting the rules and examples, where the Backrooms kind of sped run the Slenderman cycle.
In a good or a
Remember
bad
how?
way?
Did you ever hear about the Slenderman movie or watch it?
No, I mean, I know what it is, but
It's a bad thing.
okay.
There's a reason why Slenderman isn't in anything now.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with the stabbing.
But you know, it's a creepypasta thing.
But
Yeah,
Slenderman's
that's
a
the word
different.
I was looking for. Creepypasta.
See,
But Slenderman's the thing that got like super popular for a while, as in like streamers were playing the games and everything, and
Right.
then the movie came out.
well, no, but you're skipping a step here. Because there was the game, people were playing it and streaming it, and then two little girls stabbed their friend almost to death. And then the
it
movie
just-
went through massive rewrites because of that and was released like 2 weeks later. And that's what killed it.
True.
Yeah.
I didn't know that part.
I feel like it almost became childish when the two kids did that.
I mean, usually two kids playing
Attempted
Street
murder is
mean?
so fourth grade.
Fighter. Wow.
Well,
Adults get the
like,
job
They're-
done.
no. Their obsession with it to the point of that made the idea of Slenderman childish. And then also, nobody wants to talk about it because that's really messed up.
It poisoned the well. But I also, but
definitely did that.
But M's got a really good point about, I guess, the popularity of a thing. I wish I had a fucking whiz bang of. I don't have a segue at all for this. I wish we could relate this to the episode, but it's just not meant to be. But no, because like I have a flashback. It's unrelated, but it's not right. Back in the day, we're talking 99, 2000.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Toonami was just becoming a thing. This is relevant to the story, I swearsies. My friends and I were really into Dragon Ball Z. And when I say that, we went online and bought VHS tapes of subtitled episodes of the show. It would all of the show that was in America were 2 seasons dubbed by the Ocean Group. Cartoon Network hadn't gotten a hold of it.
Right.
And we're super into it, right? We're going on these old school websites, like you're going through GeoCities and shit, like Temple of Trunks and the Galaxy's Endangered. I still remember these names all these years later. And then Cartoon Network picks it up and Dragon Ball Z starts to get big. Okay.
Makes sense.
So like 6 months later, one of my buddies is a lifeguard at the local high school. They do swim classes in the pool. So he's a lifeguard for this, not for the school, but for whatever. Right. And he comes into school the next day and he's like, yeah, we have a problem. I may have told this before. It doesn't matter. Like what? He's like, well, I broke up a fight today or yesterday at work. And we're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, little kids fighting.
What happened? And he's like, no, these two kids were fighting over Dragon Ball Z. And so I broke up the fight and then I solved it, what they were arguing about. And then they spent the rest of the day following me around, asking me Dragon Ball Z questions. Now,
Poisoned well.
Yep. Now we at the time were like 17 years old, seniors in high school.
Yep, you can't have like 6, 7-year-olds following you around anymore.
Right. And like we have this, look at this thing we have in common with the 8-year-old.
Yep.
We have to lock
Yeah.
this shit down now.
Yeah. Goodbye. Dragon Ball Z.
And it's
not cool anymore.
Right. It's kind of like that. It's like Five Nights at Freddy's, right? I loved Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
How the first couple games would just give you the mystery of the lore you'd had to dig into and the idea of this murderer who was killing children and they're possessing animatronics. That sounds awesome. And then it became a children's property.
Yeah, how the hell that happened, but
It's kind of nice that those things, like in another perspective,
Yes.
it's kind of nice how those things can reach such broad audiences.
I agree, and it's nice to get people into horror, but I would like some for me too. Okay?
yeah.
I don't like that I can't enjoy this anymore. And like I could still be tacitly aware of some of this shit because we live in the world. And it's like they start building this sci-fi aspect to it. It's like, can't we just have a guy kill a bunch of kids? That's for the wraparound. That's for you guys.
I was gonna say, like,
That's the wraparound.
what do I?
That's the perfect wraparound so far.
I was in the middle of a yawn, and you're like,
we
can
can't
a
have nice
guy
things."
just kill a bunch of kids?
Maybe that's the segue now too.
I don't even know what show we're doing.
Jesus.
From drawer.
Junk drawer.
Okay. I wasn't sure which one we were doing first. I don't think we covered it, or I wasn't paying attention. So,
Oh wow, that's funny.
well, I mean, maybe it is because we've talked about a lot of different things today that are unrelated. As if you were to throw them in a junk drawer.
Hey, look, you got a segue anyway.
It wasn't great, but that is the reason we have this show. We're doing another episode of the Junk Drawer Diaries, everybody. Which, if you're not familiar with, is where we take questions from you. We have a special room in our Discord just for it, and they're not really necessarily related. Mostly they're about werewolf, I think. They're not always. They don't always have to be. But they're stuff that isn't enough to do a show all on its own. So we're hearing your questions and we're going to answer them. And we have not done this in a while.
Yep. The last one we did was Junk Drawer 8, as in ATE, as in Junk Drawer 8 something, but we don't know what that was.
But we aired it in September, which was the 9th month.
Yeah.
So this one is 9-ish.
Well, I think it's important to know too that when we did the last Junk Drawer, we took too long. We took too many questions. There were more questions than we thought. I don't know what.
Yes.
But so most of these are going to be from 3 specific people.
Right.
Who we said we'll get to you next time. And then it's been several months. So I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yep.
We are all very sorry. And
Not that sorry.
well,
Em's not sorry.
a
She
little
wasn't here.
sorry.
I wasn't here, but we have the questions and we're going to answer them.
That's right.
Well, before those 3, because there aren't that many others. So we'll get these first. And we're going to start off. Everyone's ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
So the first one will be from Mac. He says, are we going to get a Children of Gaia Tribe remake episode, or is it too cursed to even attempt?
That's funny. Well, you know what? You kind of already got one a couple years ago. God, what did we call that?
Are we sure that's not the cursed one?
Yes. No, we did a whole episode on breaking the stereotypes of a tribe.
Oh yeah.
And I forget the actual name of it, but I know we argued about it for a bit, Danny. I'm like, just call it this. Shut up. And now I don't know what it's called.
Sounds about right.
Practical applications of tribe.
Hey, nice.
There we go.
Nice.
Yep. And in that episode, I covered extensively, I think. I went above and beyond with the Children of Gaia.
Very specifically, yes.
Sort of is an apology for that first episode. So you kind of already got it. But and I'll be frank with you about it. I fully intend on doing, we've talked about before, doing update to the tribals, but I was waiting for BTA.
I wasn't sure if you wanted to bring that up or not, so
Well, you know now, because I just...
now we did it. Okay.
Yeah, it's not a secret.
So you will get them, but since we've announced BTA, I can say that's been the holdup.
Yes.
Yeah. We've talking about each of the tribes once again after BTA comes out.
Yep. We've been talking about it.
We've been talking about it.
That's right.
Let's talk about
That's
it.
what we do here. We talk about things.
We do.
Yeah.
But no,
We talk about talking about things as well.
that's right. That's been the holdup. The whole time I wanted to, but we went through the tribe books last time. For the original series, it was we're going through the tribe books. We're talking about the tribe through the lens of the tribe book. So I want to use BTA and talk about that and the changes about that, but we couldn't because we couldn't talk about BTA.
Right.
Now we can, so give me some time, but we're totally intend to do it. Thanks, Mac.
Yep. And then a follow-up from operator, which is going to kind of be the same answer, is, are we getting the unreleased Cursed Children of Gaia episode as outtakes or bloopers?
Well, I mean, it aired. I mean,
But
what you want to ask about is the Cursed Silver Fang episode.
Yikes.
That never aired, and we don't
Exists.
talk about it.
Yeah, that one was rough.
I think we have the file still
I'm sure we do.
somewhere. And no.
No is the answer.
No.
Yeah, there's not hidden Children of Gaia footage. There's hidden Silver Fang footage.
All right. Next question is from Borderline Feral. Are sept and pack interchangeable terms?
They are often used interchangeably. But a pack is a group. We're a pack, if you will. We're the group of, but a sept is a collection of Garu living together. Usually in a cairn.
Usually.
So a sept could be one pack or multiple pack.
Well, a sept has to be multiple packs.
All right, there we go.
You guys are, for example, you guys have a sept in wherever Gaia takes us.
Like Magnifique.
Right. Le Magnifique and a partial representation of the Travelers and Thieves pack through Falling Leaf of Twilight. But so technically that's 3 packs living together without a cairn. That's still a sept. Or it's 3 packs. But
Yeah. Where pack is the individual sept is multiple packs.
right. There's not a sept totem. Although there are rules that there can be. Let's not count the asterisks here. But
Yeah, it's a good question. I can see how those get mixed up.
that's pretty common.
especially
There's
Yeah,
there's a lot of terminology, so yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they are often used, well, pack and sept,
Interchangeably.
sept and cairn are used interchangeably.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, often mixed up too. But
Yes.
all right. From Mac again. Is Porter going to address the General Lee spirit in BTA?
No. I'm sorry. There's not a larger answer.
It's just the most ridiculous spirit out there. I'm sorry.
I agree.
Well, your
What's that,
reasoning is so solid it's ridiculous, and how much more could people ask for at this point?
Yeah.
And I mean, let's to real quick, because again, never show someone's first show, right? The problem with the General Lee is it sets a precedent for wackiness.
The cartoon Umbra.
Yes, it's what I call the cartoon Umbra. The idea of it representing like the American spirit of ingenuity or something, which is a spin people put on, that's a valid stance, but that would be a spirit of ingenuity.
Yes.
Not the General
not the General
Lee
Lee.
representing that, because that's not what the General Lee represented anyway. What we're talking about is giving life to a pop culture icon as a totem. And if you do that, you make the argument that if the General Lee's a totem, then the Batmobile's a totem. Because the Batmobile is more famous than the General Lee.
And if the Batmobile is...
And so is Optimus Prime. And so is Bugs Bunny. And so is Mickey Mouse.
So it's Vegeta.
Exactly. And so now all of a sudden you go into the Umbra and Wile E. Coyote is chasing Vegeta to get the 7th Dragon Ball in order to wish Optimus Prime a second birthday.
And you have to go babysit the Rugrats, and nobody wants to do that.
Now I kind of do.
You go home.
Are you
Leave.
sure about that, Danny?
You go home and
No.
watch Designing Women.
What?
Yep.
I don't...
You don't even know what that is.
No, I don't.
Yeah, of course you don't.
Well, again, no internet, so...
To watch a show from like the 80s.
I see. Didn't even know that. Okay, next. This question is from Knock. What domesticated animals would you like to see as totems? And would you put any of them in any of the tribal totems brood?
I will divert to you guys first. I've been doing a lot of talking.
I would love to see the house cat
Isn't that
just the house cat?
Silicon now?
Sorry?
Isn't the Silicon now the weird Fae Bastet? Aren't they now like the house cats, basically?
But this is asking about totems, not Bastet.
But I mean, they have a tribal totem, the house cat, that one.
I haven't read the Bastet book or anything about Bastet, so I have no idea. So, within Garu, I would like to see the house cat because one, that's a hilarious dichotomy: cat versus wolf. And I just like cats, so that's just a personal opinion.
I feel like the ban would be you have to replace your toilet with a box.
Or you have to knock something off the table if it's near the edge.
Yeah, or like have cans of tuna with you at all times.
I think you guys are only giving answers why the house cat should not be a totem here.
Also, a tuna heel. What is this,
think
my
you're
cousin Vinny?
mistaken.
I can't think of a specific, animal to make the totem, but if they were to be in any tribe's totem brood, I could see it being with, rat or cockroach, because they're the totems of the city wolves, the Bonars and Glasswalkers respectively, because once again, it's somebody's first episode. And I could imagine a lot of these domesticated animals, part of their benefit is making it a little easier to suppress the Garu's wild nature while within a city.
Like making it easier to blend in kind of thing?
Kind of. I could imagine if, we have just regular domesticated dog. I don't know if that is a totem or not already, but, I can imagine a pack following dog. Their lupus form might look a bit more like a large German shepherd. So, hey, if you're running through the city, you look like a stray instead of a wolf. I know they have a gift that does that, but even then, it's still I'm not quite sure if they would work as totems. But if I had to pick them, it would be in those tribes.
I can agree on that.
Yeah, I'm going to answer somewhat along your line, CJ, because on one hand, it's no. I would consider a domesticated animal would be kind of an insult to a Garu. Why would you follow such a lovely thing that was dominated by humanity? I am a mighty wolf. I am Garu. I am nature's fucking born and bred assassin. Or her shock troops, really, but not the, So I'm going to follow the wiener dog. That's who I want to follow. That I think it would be disgraceful. It would be considered, be looked down upon. That said, to not say no to a hypothetical, I actually would. My gut reaction would be like CJ to lean toward rat, probably rat or cockroach. But
yeah,
I see the point with cockroach. Alternatively, I could go to unicorn because of unicorn's peacenik tendencies, and that the domesticated animals probably wouldn't know shit about surviving in the wild and holding their own. Therefore, they would find more protection under a brood that isn't particularly violent in the first place, so they don't have to worry about getting fucked up. That sounds like a dig. It's not a dig.
If I had to make one of them a totem specifically, I would go just a little bit off the hypothetical and go with a feral dog, but not a wild dog. No, these stray dogs that wander around cities that have gone more or less feral. They've gone more or less wild, but they're still dogs.
True, but I would
kind of like the ones hanging out in Chernobyl at this point.
No, I get what you're saying, but I wouldn't count those as domesticated at that point. I'd count those as wild or feral, which I do believe has a place in, was it Griffin's Brood? I know they talk about the singing dogs in
I don't remember.
A World of Rage Across the World. The 20 book, god damn it, I swear a week ago, I was I'm never going to make this mistake again. I said that out loud.
Remember that. Yep.
Here I am. No, it's Rage Across the World 20.
Okay.
A World of Rage has the Margrave on it. But, they talk about the singing dogs there, and I think that's more along the lines of that, right? But yeah, I think, your Welsh Corgi, which is a domesticated, yeah, right. That's not going to be able to fight. It gets out there in the wild and runs free. It's going to get murdered by the actual wild dogs. So I would maybe move it more toward unicorn, where it's safer, where they don't have to, he doesn't have to share a pen with Fenris, if you will.
Yeah, that would be kind of hilarious, though.
Little chihuahua coming up the Fenris. Like,
I mean, it worked for Cuckoo.
It did work for Cuckoo. That's true. It did.
It could be his little sidekick, like a Scrappy Doo.
Snow Queen's.
It's Snow Queen's purse dog.
Oh, God. We're making this worse.
Yes, you are.
Danny, save us.
Okay, next question. From Mac again. How would you make a Krynos-sized black powder style hand cannon?
Janet?
Bazooka?
I mean, yeah, the Krynos shotgun already exists.
Janet.
Wait, it does?
Yes and no.
There's a Krynos shotgun?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Oh, this is a layered answer.
Yes. I was like, why even bring that up? Like, we could just leave it.
Oh.
Janet. Oh. Could just leave it by itself and just say Janet.
I will say
I
have
don't
done
get it,
something
so
similar
Exactly.
please elaborate.
Yeah. CJ, you go first.
I have done something similar, but not quite like a hand cannon. I had made a fetish for a Bonar character at one point. I don't remember the exact fetish that it was inspired off of, but I called it Ivan's Smokin' Pipe. And it's literally just like a pipe, like a lead pipe they pulled out of the ground, put a lead cap on, and bound a fire spirit into it. And the pipe is big enough that you could just shove nails or whatever you've got on hand, activate it, and it turns it into a little miniature blunderbuss.
Now, we're laughing. Well, number one, because once upon a time, a little history lesson for you guys, there was a website called BJ Zanzibar's World of Darkness. And Zanzibar's was one of two I would call pretty solid. That's doing a little disservice to the other one. BJ Zanzibar's World of Darkness. And what Zanzibar's was a place where fans could submit their own homebrew shit, and it was like an archive. You know, totems, fetishes, lots and lots and lots of other shifters. And then Pokemon became popular, and lots of Pokemon fetishes.
For no apparent reason.
But, I mean, there was no one... It was submitted, and here it is. There wasn't like a quality control. It wasn't an official source.
Quality control.
It was one of those, I made a thing, you have to see it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to submit it to BJ Zanzibar's, and he'll put it up, and now people can have the Emperor Penguin totem that they can catch with the Pokeball fetish and force into subservience. But one of the things I found there one day, because sometimes you could get some neat shit. You know, I make jokes, but, you know, there's good ideas. Give it a broken clock right twice a day. Right. So there was some good ideas in there, too. And I remember one day I found the Krynos shotgun. Which was, I mean, I don't remember the details. This was like 30 years ago.
Yeah. Years.
But it was, the idea was you had to be in strength 5 to lift it at all. And strength 6 to shoot it. And it was just so absurd that it kind of became an in-joke that the Krynos shotgun, what an idiot fucking, come on. That's so dumb. And then to add that, this Janet bit is I kind of did a nod to it during the Guilty.
Docs and Dooley.
Yeah. And it wasn't even a scene I included in the game, but I had written and I cut it and we talked about it anyway because it was funny.
Right.
Where Docs had pieced together his own shotgun that he could use in Krynos that he wanted Dooley to make a fetish. He was calling her Janet. You know, it was like the 2 pieces of PVC pipe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
It was
using like the tubes from a bank system, vacuum system for the shells.
Yep.
I did something similar in the Wild West, just it was tin cans for the shells, since that was the new thing.
Right. Oh. So that's where the initial came from. I mean, if one were to want to do it, I mean, obviously there are ways. I think CJ's method was far more, mine wasn't intended to be legitimate. Mine was just supposed to be a joke. The Docs is kind of an idiot. But yeah, you could absolutely do it with, but do you wanna? I don't know.
Do you wanna is the real question.
Well, I mean, that's mine because I don't know. And this is a personal thing. Maybe it's just me, but I don't, is the appeal of being a werewolf shooting a larger gun or being a werewolf? It's personal tastes.
That's your personal taste.
Yeah. Like, again, I'm not going to go with anybody here, but it's like, what do you wanna? Why do you wanna?
I mean, this is something specific I could see for like the bow and nars of the, the homebrew shotgun, making the zip gun or whatever. Or, maybe it is the fire barrel that you've made into a cannon that you just hold under one arm in Krynos and stick it with like a lighter or something.
I mean, you do have a point. People make like spud guns and shit. So I could running with it again. Don't say no to a hypothetical. I could see doing that. Maybe taking some industrial grade piping, as a barrel. I don't know how to make a fucking spud gun. Somebody will know though, and can.
Depends.
You just need a barrel and one way to block one end, and then the projectile and something explosive. That's it.
And I can see with enough love and care being able to get a spirit into that to make that shit happen.
I can see with bonars, yeah.
Hey, just get the spirit of MacGyver. It's right there with the General Lee.
Well done.
Okay.
Thanks, Mac.
Next will be from Daphne. Can spirits soak aggravated damage?
Not without an armor charm.
So if they have the armor charm, yes. If they do not, no.
Yeah, spirits can't soak at all without the armor charm. So, Siege?
And I think there's a important thing to also bring up. Unless they're manifested, all damage is treated as ag for spirits.
Yes, that's true.
Taking and receiving, or taking and giving.
Let's add on to that too. Like, you couldn't hit a spirit with like a table leg and just go through.
You have to hit it with yourself.
Yep, with a fetish
Or
or
something
closet
Or,
things.
yeah. Not a fetish, but the word is escaping me. A talent, yes.
Something
Yeah, spirits
imbued
just
with a
can't
spirit, or
Yeah, spiritually awoken, dedicated, fetished. Something like that. You got to go through a couple extra steps.
Spirits don't soak unless they have armor charm.
Okay. So that was our regular list. And now the three who have submitted a whole ton of questions.
Let's rock it. Who's first?
This list is going to come from You Can Call Me Ginger.
Which, hey Ginger, congratulations.
Yay!
Which is super late because we've had this conversation in already like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But congratulations.
Congrats! Yay!
Yay.
All right, her first one says, do you all like to use music in your games? And I kind of have something for this. Like, I have ideas brewing for the game that we talked about last week that I'm going to kind of run.
Oh, the one that I have to write for you?
The one shot. I have ideas brewing, but yeah, I'm going to probably put like a song in the background for a certain scene. That's going to be fun.
Like sending the clowns? Or when
No, that's when I walk up to the table.
I thought you'd be doing March of the Gladiators for that.
Maybe I do March of the Gladiators because it's way worse than it actually sounds.
For me, this is a kind of... I would like to use music in my games, but it's a little too much of a hassle at times. And you'll always run into those situations of like, you think the track is long enough, but the scene goes on maybe just a little longer than you expect. And so the music either cuts out or shifts to something completely not fit for the scene. So you get those moments of like, this doesn't work. But I have found the few times I have used music or just ambient tracks for scenes specifically, I do it very sparingly, but the few times it helped amplify the scene. My favorite and my go-to that I will always like be able to point to is a scene where the pack is going through a New Orleans swamp in the middle of the night looking for a set. And I had the Huntress's Lullaby from DVD playing as they were actively being stalked by one of the Guardians.
Beautiful.
You son of a bitch.
Nice.
And I had it turned down because Discord had you could have music bots at the time, and I had the bot set to like the lowest possible volume. and just slowly raised it up as the Guardian got closer until I cut it.
Chef's kiss.
This is like that. It's fucking great. Do it. You just got to make sure it's like a 4-hour long track, just in case.
When I play in person or on Roll20 during combat scenes, I do turn on some ambient music. Yes, the track does end, but I always just put it on a loop and kind of have it down just to be kind of in the background while everybody is waiting for their turn or on their turn. So just some kind of fight scene music.
Nice, nice.
I have a complicated relationship with this too. The short version in terms of wherever Gaia takes us is I can't. Because we will get sued.
Yeah.
Unless we found some good copyright-free tracks, but that's a whole mess.
That's a whole mess, and it's very
very
different
mess.
because, music is a big part of my inspiration.
Uh-huh.
We referenced The Guilty earlier, and that whole chronicle was put together around a Sean James song. The entire thing. And in fact, I got another track that I am excited to use as the theme for like the back half of this chronicle.
Oh,
He did a cover of Bad Moon on the Rise.
no shit.
It's really good.
I gotta write that down later.
Yeah, it's really good. Anyway, so there are a lot of scenes I write to a song.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like CJ brings up, there's issues with pacing, and sometimes it can be disruptive. So I rarely use music in the games. I can't use it for the games that we're running now.
Yeah. That's a bummer.
It is, but I do write with that stuff in my head. Case in point, and you guys know this, but a little behind the scenes, during Assault on Station 2, right? CJ's already smiling.
I was wondering if you could bring that
There's
up.
that scene. Well, I can talk about it. We just can't
play
do
the song,
it.
yeah.
That whole scene when they were in the barracks in my brain was set to Ballroom Blitz. And I told these guys that, and like they could like, oh my god, that's
It
amazing.
was so awesome.
I think we played that a little on the day
No, I
when
think-
we had like a small
Yeah.
break.
Yeah, I think we kind of hummed it in stuff that Danny had to cut around.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Like I might have said the words Ballroom Blitz, but like we were singing it, we were making the joke.
Yeah, we were very, because
and I very much had to cut all of it.
yeah, like fucking, they take issue with that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it made so much sense.
Yeah. I will say too, up talking about the combat in the music, I was in a game where someone did that one time,
Oh God.
never again. This was a D&D game, and he had planned the battle scene, he had planned it to music, and the music he chose was Advice by The Pillows, which means nothing to you whatsoever, Danny. Don't.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't even sound familiar.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. But those of you familiar with the anime Fooly Cooly, da-na-na, 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 da-na, that song, which that track is like 2 minutes long.
Yep.
And the combat was like an hour.
Oh my God.
So it looped. And we all hated ourselves
Again.
and him. Mostly him.
Mostly him, yeah.
I can't hate The Pillows, but I hate him.
It's too much of one song.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if the combat had only lasted the length of the song, it would have been amazing. Perfect choice.
But it's still
by the
like 2
18th
minutes.
time that it played,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Like the car rides and How I Met Your Mother.
that was funny. This was not
Yeah, that's
supposed
funny.
to be funny. It comes back around. It's fine.
All right. Then the next question. Do you work with face claims for the characters, or is it mostly theater of the mind?
What's a face claim?
I'm not sure.
Face claim is an image that you choose for describing how your character looks rather than just describing it out loud. I remember when I submitted my character description to you, Porter, there was a picture at the bottom. That was my face claim.
So, like a rough image of what you would imagine your character looks like? Or
Yeah,
Like,
like
your
our-
celebrity lookalike. If you're using
Yes.
like
I'd never
Okay.
heard the term. Interesting.
Yeah, me either.
It's really common to use. I always use them in games that I play and with characters that I make just for me because I can't imagine things. So I require pictures, which also made Porter go off and find some face claims for some of the NPCs in the game.
That's true.
So, and you can go to the website and all of those face claims and our character art made by a very lovely artist.
That's Mr. Paul Way.
Yeah, Paul Way are available on the website, rageacrosstheinternet.com.
.com.
I could say, at least for me, it was definitely theater of the mind. But now that we have the characters and the drawings and that awesome artwork, I can kind of use that picture in my head and animate him, I guess, in my mind as the story goes.
I originally started using face claims for all of my characters originally whenever I was running stuff on Roll20 exclusively. I'm going to be honest, after a while, it got to be a little too much work whenever you start building multiple septs and everything and multiple packs. And it's just easier to describe them once, maybe twice, and keep that description written somewhere. But now there are a few characters who is just like, this is the character. I can find a picture of it and just be like, yep, nope, that's them. This is what they look like. It's easy. For instance, Peacemaker, the leader of the Septimi game, is just John Dutton.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Like, I could describe it 6 ways to Sunday, but just being able to put up a picture of him like leaning on the fence, looking like he's the king of the castle. Yeah. There you go. It's right there.
I like to do, obviously, theater of the mind. Thanks for the podcast, right? But, and like, I wouldn't replace doing that with a picture like that with a face claim. I'll do a refresher when it's appropriate, like every now and then. That said, I did, obviously we have the stuff, I did the stuff for we have that excellent Paul Way art. Thanks again, Paul. But I did, just as for shits and grins as a project at one point, I started doing like my dream casting of my NPCs. And that was kind of fun. So, I'm not opposed to it, but I think that it should be in addition to the Mind's Eye Theater, to using your words instead of just replacing.
That's fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Description is necessary with the face claim.
Yeah, just, let it enhance your writing, not replace it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And on the same note, do you all use maps for your environment? Use real life photos or videos to give impressions?
Once again, this is one of those kind of used to. I used to use a lot of maps and everything because Roll20, that's kind of like integrated into the system. Like there was a little while I was doing like full combat maps for every major combat encounter. It got to be too much work for not enough reward.
That makes sense.
But like, I've got a map of the sept in the current sept that I'm running that I made for fun / for like a quick reference to be like, hey, look, this is where you guys are. I'm never really, aside from referencing a few key points, you're never going to actually have to like plot your way across the map or tying myself down to like, yeah, everything is in this area. So I can get a little bit more free wiggle room, be like, you know what, there's actually a ravine here now. You just never noticed it because you never went there. It's not like it was on the map or anything.
Em?
I just describe the area, what it would be like. If it's a forest, I say what type of forest. If it's a city, I kind of compare it to another city. But it became way too much work going out and finding photos or making maps every single time. Mind's Eye Theater for environments. And if a battleground needs help during a fight, I just do a quick sketch like we do here on the podcast. Do a quick sketch for somebody who needs help knowing where things are, where the directions are.
And half got it for me right there too, right? When we need to, I'll do like a quick sketch or something. Because I can be helpful, but hopefully we can just, all see it. There are times of which, and I mean, you guys already know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's the Willows Pass map. M's version of it is on the website. You know, I would like, there's part of me that would like to do a more detailed version of that, like another couple zoomed in layers, but I worry about too much detail.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
give away spoilers at that point, and
Well, I have multiple versions. Like the version of the map that I made that you guys have access to, not the one on the website. There are multiple versions of that because there's a version with all my notes and where everything is too.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. That's just a rough draft version based on what our characters know.
Right. Also, you know, I love my Cairn maps. You know, my Sweet Summer Rain map and my Dancing Heavens map. I love that Dancing Heavens map. Oh
That
my
one's
God,
fun.
I love that one.
That one's a lot of fun, actually.
But that's like with the Cairn one, that's something that like definitely I want you to be familiar. And really, I think that's part of the thing too, is it's how important the setting is. Because if you recall, Danny, there was a section where I went on Google Maps during the Guilty and got maps of New Orleans.
Yes.
To break down, like by, you know, here are the parishes and this is where this is where the sept is. This is where that place is.
Yep.
And then there was that tree over on the West End that I just couldn't describe
Yeah.
adequately enough.
Yeah, it just... I know.
It was like the awesome spooky tree. It was like the Grand King of spooky trees.
Yeah.
And there was no way I could do it justice. So I just printed the fucker out and went, this one. This is the thing. This is the tree. It's too awesome. I can't put that into words. I'll fucking...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for the most part, at least for me, I know there are some people who ultimately can't see what's inside my head or can't see...
I think that's most people.
This is true. But they can't see the same thing that I'm hearing. But I personally believe that, Porter, you are really good at describing certain scenes. Certain scenes. No, that's a lie too. Every scene you are really good at describing, and it's easy for me to be able to see it in my head. Now, I understand there are some who can't. Not as well, at least. But you were describing this tree, and then you held up the picture. Like, I know what I said, but I still don't feel like it's enough to give this justice. So you showed that picture, and it's like, okay, I get why you felt that way. Because that was a very creepy tree.
That was super cool.
But, yeah, for the most part, you're really good at this, describing the things. So,
Well, thank you. I wasn't fishing for that, certainly. So thank you. We know it. I didn't answer the question. Of course I wasn't fishing for it.
no, you're not fishing for it, but I do want to give credit because you've turned this into its own, like, show. The
It's called Rage
play.
Across the Internet.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the podcast.
Stop right there. I'm stopping right there. All right, the next one is, what is your character's favorite band and music genre?
That sounds like a great question for when you're creating your character.
Uh-huh.
And we did that recently, I feel like.
We
Talked about
did.
talking about finalizing that character and the extra. That's a question you should be asking when you're creating.
Nice.
So everyone should know the answer to it. See, everyone's afraid to say something now.
I don't know what that genre is called, so I need a quick look up.
Okay.
Oh, that was easy.
Do we get to know?
Yeah. So my favorite music genre is instrumental. I don't know how to describe it. Just anything with like a lot of instruments in it.
Okay.
I do enjoy rock quite a bit, obviously. But I typically enjoy music without a lot of words whenever I'm just hanging out by myself or doing something. Instrumental music is fun. Not like classical, but like rock instrumental and things like that.
I get you.
Carly's favorite music genre, the character from our actual play, is rock. Her favorite band is the REM.
Yeah, I like how you said that. The REM.
REM. Yes.
I'll say I like all music. Pretty much most music. I think the only thing I don't like is like country and opera. But as far as Ricochet goes, we're going to go with the early 90s grunge. And almost embarrassingly, like he likes it, but doesn't want other people to know it.
Nightfang's got a similar, brushing up on the grunge, a little punk rock here and there. The two bands that I actually have a playlist that I've been slowly building for him to be like, okay, this is definitely stuff that he'd be listening to whenever he gets the chance, and it's primarily stuff from Green River or The Clash.
Respectable.
Yeah, it's hard to just pick a favorite. Depends on what I'm doing or what music I've got going, but it's usually a lot of Sabaton, or recently been getting into similar, not instrumental, but it's synthwave almost for whenever I'm writing. Oblique Occurrence is the artist, and it's some really good just ambient music.
Love that.
I can listen to that.
For me, I am a student of all genres. I don't think I could settle myself for the genre. But if you put a gun to my head, I think my favorites are probably, rock, classic rock, and blues. I don't know what character to reference. As far as music, right?
All of them.
I mean, well, that's never going to happen. We don't have that kind of time.
Nope.
But I guess what's in my heart to answer right now would be Bodhi and Mia.
Okay.
I miss them dearly. And I would talk about, like, again, the Clash, the Violent Femmes, the Ramones, collectively between the two of them.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Misfits would be the last one.
What's y'all's favorite fruit?
Oranges. I love oranges. And cherries, not the ones with the red dye in them, but the actual cherries with the stems and the seeds that you have to spit out as you eat them. So oranges and cherries.
I like a good berry medley. Like, I get the berry medley frozen fruit bag, and then I can throw that in a blender with a huge spoonful of peanut butter and make myself a smoothie in the morning.
You kind of sounded like Flanders.
Sorry.
A little bit.
Sorry.
It's finally dinally, neighbor.
Good raspberry, blackberry.
Those are good. Yeah, I don't know. Strawberries, blueberries. I don't do a whole lot. I guess tomatoes on my burger.
Tomatoes are a great fruit,
They're a vegetable.
especially with a little salt on top. They're a fruit.
Oh, you said you were you said vegetable. You did it.
No,
you did it. We haven't recorded.
Here's what drawer do you put them in, the fruit drawer or the vegetable drawer?
I put them on the counter because you shouldn't store tomatoes in the fridge. And also, vegetable is a culinary term, not a botanical term. So they are culinarily a vegetable, but biologically a fruit.
And your glasses are slipping. Do you
Actually.
There you go.
There we go.
Actually,
As a vegetable, I don't give a shit.
And when you buy tomatoes, you should store them on the counter as they retain most of their flavor. That way, you should not store them in the fridge as they do lose some of their flavor.
But attract less flies.
hey yo.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, actually.
I'm just going to say this now. We need to, at some point, isolate like the classic little sound effect from anime when somebody pushes up their glasses for a plan.
We might have to.
For my actuallys.
It's just going to replace us saying
soundboard.
It's just going to replace us saying jar.
Ding.
I mean, that happens more often than us saying jar.
That's true too.
Yeah.
All right. What auspice would you be in real life? And I feel like we've had this question before, but
I was born under a crescent moon, so I would be a Thurge.
I believe I was as well.
I don't know what I would be in. Like, I don't know what real moon I was born under, but I feel like I'm an Ahram period. I have too much rage, and I just let it build up too much. Shit just gets
We can cut
bottled
this. What was your birthday?
January 14th, 1986.
Were you in Detroit or
Yes.
nearby area when you were
No, I
born?
was born in Detroit.
Okay, because that does affect it sometimes.
St. John's Macomb Hospital of Detroit.
You said what? When? January 14th, 86?
Correct.
Ooh, almost a half moon, but a waxing crescent. very close to a half moon, though.
Interesting. Luna can be wrong.
Give him a thought. That might be close enough. I mean, it depends on how, how close
True.
is close.
But no,
Couple percent.
I have too much rage, and I bottle it up, and the more I bottle it up, the worse it gets.
If you've ever seen Falling Down with Michael Douglas, that's going to be Danny in a few years.
A few years?
I mean, it's possible.
It's possible. Probably a few
Yeah.
months.
I'm going to send this motherfucker to a spa or something. CJ?
Despite, my default position whenever it comes to tabletop RPGs, it's actually kind of fitting. Born under a gibbous moon.
Ooh.
And as the forever ST and or DM, it is kind of fitting at times.
You say that, but I do believe you are a player in a
Yes.
pretty decently rated fucking podcast / actual play.
Yep.
Really?
So, liar.
It's been going on for a while now.
Yeah. It's
That's not what-
semi-successful.
But it's not what forever means. Well, we got good ratings. Thank you, everybody, for those ratings.
Yeah.
Keep them coming. We appreciate it. But, fucking-
The majority of the time. There you go.
that's a bit better. All right.
Fun fact.
Yes,
Fun
ma'am.
fact real fast. I went to visit Washington, D.C. a few years ago, and we went to the Space Museum. And with everyone I was there with, we went to the gift shop and each got necklaces based on the moons we were born under. And each of us were born under one of the 5 different moons,
That's awesome.
which was
Nice.
kind of awesome.
That's pretty rad.
I was geeking out.
Next part of that question was,
Oh my God.
which totem would come to welcome you?
Oh, that's not up to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, too bad, Ginger.
Yeah, sorry, Ginger. I also kind of feel it might be a little bit mean-spirited at times, depending on if you ask somebody else.
No, that's when the what would you deed name everybody? That's the
Yeah.
one.
Oh,
that we
that's
can't
a little
answer.
mean-spirited. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, there is the whole, the totem chooses you. Would I love to have Grandfather Thunder show up? Oh, hell yeah.
Woody? No, it's not to you,
Guess we'd find out if it was real.
right?
Okay. How do you guys feel about taking characters from other media to turn them into a werewolf? For example, I play a werewolf who's based on Elvor from Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I will lead off this one if that's cool. I think there's a very real difference between being inspired by a character and flat out stealing a character.
I
Yep.
just gonna
Yeah.
say I agree on that.
I've definitely been inspired by characters before, and I have stolen the is from the Max, but that's a creature and not like a person.
Right.
Still wasn't cool. It was self-indulgent, and I stand by that.
It was still cool.
You're self-aware enough to point it out.
Yeah, like I'm telling on myself here, but taking like a real character and I think it's perfectly fine if you're inspired by, but you just got to watch you don't cross that line where you're just stealing. Cause I knew a guy and it's not quite the same thing, but he was a big reader, like stupid big reader. Like had fucking books stacked on his floor cause there wasn't bookshelf space. But like, it wasn't something a bookshelf would, it was like a room full of, it was ridiculous. And what he would do is he would take these obscure ass sci-fi stories that he read that was in like a book from 1975 one time that 3 people have seen. And he would he would just tell that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
That was just his Pathfinder game or whatever he was playing at the time. Like, and just unapologetically. And then one time he got too cute
And went
a little more mainstream and was called out on it. And it's like, that's so satisfying. And it was, I don't remember what it was. I didn't play in the game. He was one of these things, he told me about it afterward. Like we'd hang out and he'd go, he's like, yeah, I didn't think they would have read. And it was something like the Three Musketeers or some shit. Like there's no way he should have even attempted this. You know, like, are you fucking kidding?
Yeah.
Yikes.
But then, like, what that did, right, is it completely turned his group on him. Because suddenly they're like, oh, he's been insulting our intelligence by just stealing other people's work all these years. You know, what was next? Were you to run the plot of Donkey Kong? You know, like, that's how stupid you think we are? And I mean, clearly, yes, he wasn't a great guy. But again, not the same thing, but I can see the parallel there. So you want to be careful, be inspired by, do not steal.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, there's the difference between, you know, basing a character off somebody and then just ripping the character.
Yeah, I definitely take influence from some of my favorite characters, but never verbatim, just maybe a couple of my favorite features, and I try to implement them into my own character.
And that's great to do. Right. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, but yeah, and don't steal. This is the captain of this group. His name is Gene Luck Pickard. And he's bald and British. I mean, Scottish. He's Scottish instead.
No, not British. Scottish. British. Did I say British? I meant a little bit Irish. See, auto corrected.
This isn't Doctor Who. This is Professor What. Leave me alone.
Yeah. So yes, based on, not exactly like.
Okay.
Yeah, like I've taken inspiration for characters from movies and games and shit and stuff like that I've seen. But yeah, I have tried to avoid ripping characters unless it is something like a one and done. I need a quick character who's only going to ever be a thing once. Then maybe.
Bodhi looks like Patrick Swayze in Point Break.
Yeah. Like, I may or may not have an NPC who is based off Mr. Wolf from Pulp Fiction.
Well, we also refer back to John Dutton.
But that's more look-alike.
Well, I'm just saying, there's Inspiratus.
Yeah.
Always. All right. The last question from Ginger. If a Garou has tattoos, do you think they should be visible under the fur or for different forms? I like that idea. I guess it's going to be personal preference. But, like, I can see how, like, if Rico's tattoo along his arm is the Bonar, but he goes down to a wolf, and it might not look exactly the same, but it's just like a patch that kind of resembles the Bonars. Or maybe it's just a patch of fur, a different color fur.
But see, that wasn't the question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She said tattoo on the skin under the fur.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well,
you read it.
Yes, you're right, I did.
Well, if it's a different color on the skin, the fur will come out that color, actually. But
fucking this guy. Motherfucker.
Jar, or I'm going home.
and for me, it's definitely an aesthetic choice. So if I want my character to have it in the different forms, I mean, it's there because it's my mind's eye theater. So
no, I fully endorse that. I'm going to back you up there. Fully endorse it. And in fact, despite my busting Danny's balls, I have, in fact, it's been in some of the NPCs of the month. I've talked about how, like, a glyph will show up as a different colored patch of fur or something. Yeah. Not even necessarily related to the color. But again, because it's an aesthetic choice, right? It's like when we see those pictures in the books of, like, there's a Garou with the fucking army jacket on that he had in Hamid. Like, that should go away. But it doesn't hurt as long as it's not. As long as you're not expecting it to do something stat-wise.
Right, it's just an aesthetic.
Yeah, then if that's what makes you happy, fucking keep it good. But
like, throwing the hood on a Krynos-size hoodie is not going to make you look less Krynos.
Right. But if it's just you think it looks cooler that way for you in your heart, then fucking, yeah. Fucking
go for it. Yeah. If you want your character to look how your character wants, go for it. It's have fun.
Yeah, just aesthetic, and it can be cool, but personal preference reigns supreme on that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the only exception to it that I usually bring up is there's the few like fetish tattoos that I found and stuff like that, where it's like the spirit bound into like the scarred tattoo. Those show up.
Oh, then they definitely should, but fetishes,
but,
right?
like,
So,
They're fetishes.
yeah.
Yeah, like those show up guaranteed. But yeah, if it's like your character has a whole just simple tattoos or a full back piece, whatever, and you want it to show up in your fur pattern, cool. It might not be 1-to-1, but close enough. But
Does
it's
no
up to
harm
you.
otherwise.
It's looks.
So, yeah.
All right. So thank you, Ginger, for all your questions. Much appreciated.
Yeah, Ginger.
Now we move on to Ren.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, we know that.
Heard of him before.
Just a couple times. Sugaru can go to Australia but not be there at night. This curse comes from War of Rage. What caused the case besides killing all the other shifters there? And what happens if Agaru is caught?
I'll take this one.
Yeah.
All right. So a little confusion there. First of all, it's the War of Tears that took out the Bunyip, not the War of Rage. And Garu absolutely can go to Australia. They can be there at night. They can, whenever. The danger for them lies in the Umbral Outback. And that is because the spirits of the Bunyip and the brood, they're associated with are pissed. So it's just bad news bears because of the vengeful spirits in the region.
Makes sense. And yeah, I'm sure they're pissed. Assuredly so.
Anything you guys feel I'm leaving out?
No.
I feel that you covered it. Nice.
All right, cool.
All right. Striders cannot go to Egypt, but say they do go there. What happens?
I've got this one.
Excellent.
Striders can go to Egypt, but when they do stay there for any particular length of time, they are unable to really gain any rest, can't gain gnosis due to their curse placed by Set. So it's
So
miserable.
It's pretty miserable.
All right. Another easy one. What breaks Blur of the Milky Eye? And can you really sneak around someone through a metal detector with Blur with metal on them? And would that break Blur?
I feel like you would still show up in the metal detector because you're still physically there.
Yep.
And by being alerted, that would probably break Blur.
Yeah, any noise you make or physical action you take would break Blur.
Yeah.
So that
It's
would
not
show
that
up on the metal detector, make a noise, and the people would see you.
Yeah, it's not that you're invisible, it's just you're incredibly hard to notice.
All right. Can you peek into the Umbra with a spyglass to get a further view?
No, but I think the idea of fetishing a spyglass to allow you to peek through is a really cool idea.
Yeah, that's a neat idea. I like that.
That's a cool idea, yeah.
That would be the... Although I could also see the Silver Fang with their fetish monocle doing the same thing.
Right? I actually,
Monocle.
in the summer rain, in Jonas Mystic Eyes' lodge house, there is a set of like 2 or 3 sets of 3D glasses, like the old cardboard ones from like the 50s or 80s when it came back again, that were fetished, or taloned, technically. To the red side could see the realm and the blue side could see the Umbra.
Nice.
And they got retired because they kept making everyone throw up.
That's fair.
Very fair, yeah.
That's kind of cool, actually. Would you guys ever talk about what goes on at Moots? Like games they play, things they do at Player's Book is a little vague. Would you guys ever talk about what goes on at Moots? Like the games they play and the things they do? The Player's Book is a little vague.
I mean, we've talked about that to some extent in the past, but I'm totally at peace with doing another episode on Moots.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like a fun idea. I would like to learn more about moots personally.
So, stay tuned. That'll happen. Done.
Nice.
Confirmed. We're going to put that on the list.
Nice. How scary is a social monster, Garu?
I don't know what that means.
It's like you put a lot of your stats into the social stuff. High pure breed, high charisma, manipulate, etc.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, okay. I mean, that would be something like an enticer, top of my head, and that can be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking about like the raw stats, like somebody who's built a social character, it really depends on your storyteller. Because if you're like the reporter, congratulations, put a lot of dots into something, you're not going to be rolling 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, mostly not. Yeah.
Unless the gifts use those rolls, otherwise you're going to have to show it
Right.
and not tell it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But some of those gifts are pretty good. The ones that used in the appearance or manipulation.
And we have been. There's been precedent, right, to break out some rules to help give an edge over a thing while still making you actually do it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So at what time after a Garu falls in love with a human would he tell them, or would they just not say a word?
Oh, never. What are you doing? Never.
Yeah. If it's just a regular human, you got the whole double life thing that you're dealing with.
Well, I mean, to be fair, until your rage takes over and you beat the shit out of them, and they either call the police or you killed them.
Yeah.
If you love them, you let them go.
Okay, what if it was a kinfolk?
That's different because
That's
they
not-
already
I know
know.
it's not what he said, but I can throw that in there. Why not?
No, you can, but well, of course they know because they're a kinfolk.
Or if they're out of the loop and you want them to be your mate, then you put them into the loop and have them raise the children.
Or if they know about the nation and have escaped the nation and they don't know that you're a Garu, you put them in a cage so they can't run away. I learned that from Danny.
Whoa! Come on! Jesus. Are there any gifts that you say all of an auspice should take, like sense worm, spirit speech for Thurge?
Spirit speech for a Thurge.
Definitely. Actually, this is not really answering the question, but listening to our last episode, not the Let's Play, but the spirit design. And, listening back to that, we were talking about stuff like the social, or like the social, what am I doing? Like the cab spirit and some of that stuff. Listening back, I kind of loved the idea of if you don't have spirit speech, right, and you're talking like that car spirit, the voice is just a horn. Right? Like, because you can't understand it because you don't have spirit speech. So if you have spirit speech, you can decipher. It's just a different language. But,
Or if you're talking to the Jeeves spirit, it's just the dial-up sounds.
I was thinking that too.
That's fun.
I just the little something extra that came up.
Nice though.
Yeah.
Food for thought on that. Give a different sounds or way they communicate. That if spirit speech, you can understand it like normal language, but otherwise it's just sound.
Yep.
Is there any gifts that all runes should have?
There's a lot of gifts that...
A lot of crossover.
There's a lot of crossover. There's a lot of gifts in like each tribe or each auspice that's like, every one of them should have it. But then again, it really just depends on the player. Like Razor Claws is a great one for the Ahru to have. Because hey, it's that little extra damage. It's a little combat buff, but
It's not necessary.
you're not always going to need it.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like, spirit speech is necessary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just going by
It's
him,
like one of the
think-
exceptions.
Yeah, I think spirit speech is going to be the only one that's absolutely necessary.
I think every Philodox should have Truth of Gaia.
I was going to say, what's the one that is the truth telling?
Yeah.
Can't remember the name of it, but yeah, Truth of Gaia for the Philodox, absolutely.
Maybe Blur for Rayabash, but even then, if you're just stealthy enough on your own.
I think,
That's also kind of a stylistic Ragabash choice.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, it's cool, but is it necessary for them to have?
Well, that's the thing, right? Because if you're playing
Yeah.
jerk off jokey Smurf, then you don't need Blur.
Yeah. So it really depends on the style of the other characters you're playing, but probably Truth of Gaia and Spirit Speech are the almost mandatory ones.
Yeah.
And for the record, I know I've heard people say, like, in my games, I give everyone Spirit Speech because Gaia were part Spirit. Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, my fucking great-grandfather was French. I can't speak French. So that's only partially true. I don't know.
Yeah, know what you're saying, though. Yeah. It's fine.
I still can't speak French. The rest of it, though.
What is your favorite feel-good food?
I love a fruit bowl. A bowl full of fruit with pineapple juice on top. Delicious. It makes me feel good.
Why don't you just put pineapple pieces in the fruit bowl?
It's also in the fruit bowl, but you also drizzle the juice on top.
Just extra pineapple.
Yeah, just extra pineapple juice.
All right.
CJ?
For me, it'd have to be a good pulled pork sandwich.
Solid choice.
Nice.
With a nice, like, sweet barbecue sauce.
Danny?
I like a good barbecue. Anything barbecued or smoked.
Yeah.
Brisket, pulled pork. Yeah.
Getting hungry, I got that.
Ribs.
I'm gonna be picky. I'm gonna be bougie on this shit. There is a restaurant chain here called Ramshorn. And their food is aggressively mid. It's like a big boy, However, they have, and it's no longer called this, by the way, because they've changed it on the menu.
What?
But it's still there. It's just they call it different now. They have what was once called a plate of skins 2. And this is their cheese blend bacon. What you would expect from potato skins, just their cheese blend bacon, and the beautiful little boats of potato skin. They're filled with grease in just the right amount. And their house-made ranch, a little sour cream, slap some salt on those sons of bitches, and it is a heart attack on a plate. Mm-hmm. It has taken roughly 20 years off my life, and I'm happy with that because it's the end shitty years.
It does sound good.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie.
They are so good.
That sounds good. I love potato skins.
Like, I'm not going to be 90 years old, with my skin falling off going, which one is Lincoln? That'll never happen because I'll be long dead thanks to these potato skins.
They're just so good. Oh, I want potato skins now. Fuck the pulled pork sandwich and the brisket. I want potato skins.
Maybe I'll include a picture of them for the show notes when this airs.
Perfect.
I think CJ's looking it up. I don't want to see this shit.
All right. Thank you again, Ren, for your questions. Now we have some from Buddhist Monkey. In not breed form, if you just touch silver, does it burn a Garu?
Either one you want it?
I've run it that it doesn't burn, but it's like the equivalent of you have a pan that is just absolutely scalding hot on a stove, and it's got the little separation between the metal handle and the pan itself. So there's that moment of you grab it and it's uncomfortably hot, but it's not burning you. Not enough to actually deal damage, but enough to be like, this isn't fun.
Fair. Did they change the rule that you need a reflective surface or glare of some type to step sideways? And if so, which edition?
Yes, they did. I believe, and I might have this inverted, like the World of Rage and a World of Rage thing, or Rage Across the World versus a World of Rage. In 2nd and 20, you do need a reflective surface. In Revised, you did not.
Oh, interesting.
Or in Revised, you need a reflective surface, and you don't in 20, and yeah.
I believe you do not in 20, because I remember for the longest time that was always a rule I heard, but I had never found it.
Yeah.
I know
I
it
agree.
did change.
That's always a rule I had played with because my storyteller used it, but I had never seen it anywhere in the book. So it could be that way, but I also could be mistaken.
No, I know they changed it. Like I know for a fact. I clearly don't. My additions get skewed. So oops.
It happens.
But I will say I run it if, you don't like the official answer for the edition you're playing. And I don't think I've talked about this with you guys, but there's always been, right? You can without a reflective surface, but it's at a higher difficulty.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I think is the good compromise there.
I agree.
Right?
I think so.
Yeah, I like it.
Now, there are a ton more from Buddhist, but unfortunately, we are kind of out of time for this one. Again.
But we wanted to give the couple in, right? 'Cause we're not trying to bump you here, Buddhist.
Buddhist has got a lot. And there were a
Some
lot.
of them are jokes.
Yeah. Oh, well, they're always fun, but Ren had a lot, Ginger had a lot, and Buddhist has got a lot. That's why we waited, but thank you, all three of you, for the extra questions.
Yeah.
And if anybody else has some questions, submit them in the junk drawer at our Discord, and we'll make another episode sometime soon.
That's right. Keep them coming. We're happy to answer them. These are fun little shows. And again, thanks to, Mac and Ginger and
Mac,
and Ren
and Operator. Yeah, everyone who sends them in. And Buddhist, you will get first for the next one.
Yeah, we swear we won't. We got two of them. We did the two. You didn't get bumped completely. You'll lead. You'll lead the next one. We promise. Maybe. We might be lying, but not on purpose.
Not on purpose.
We might forget by then.
It's entirely possible. We'll try to make it not as long of a wait. Yeah, that's up to you. That's up to the questions, really.
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
But that is Danny's right. That's our time. So on behalf of everyone here at the studio, we want to thank you so much for listening and thank you for your support. And remember, it's crazy times out there. So let's focus on the stuff that keeps us together rather than the stuff that tears us apart. Be good. Eat your candy. Have some more bacon. Drink your school. Eat your water. We'll see you next time. Can't we just have a guy kill a bunch of kids?